Come in.
Bravery is not common in this world, Enzo. Loyalty, honor, obedience. They set the man apart from the rest.
That's a good graphics.
Care of Messina. But this matter is not yet resolved. Will you help me bring it to a close?
Yeah, the signora.
Of course. Don Torrisi.
Graphics. Why do I feel like this look like Uncharted? It's inspired. Yeah. This feels like Uncharted and Red Dead Redemption feel.
You again.
Am I just the only one who thinks that feels like Uncharted and... Wait, let me see that again. Look at this. This right here. No, not this. This right here feels Uncharted. This feels Uncharted and Red Dead Redemption mixed together. This feels Uncharted and Red Dead Redemption. This feels like Red Dead Redemption and Uncharted mixed in the same school together. Yeah, this looks just like Red Dead Redemption. This still feels like the boss fight in Red Dead with Uncharted 4. You know. Yeah, that feels way more like Uncharted 4. That feels like Uncharted, bro. What the heck? Yo, that feels like that feels Uncharted to me. What?
Hey everyone, I'm Nick Baines, president of Hangar 13. We hope you enjoyed this new look at gameplay in Mafia: The Old Country. We're just 3 short months away now from getting this game in your hands, and we can't wait. Mafia: The Old Country is an origin story for the Mafia universe,
as it looks,
and as such,
that's a Sicily
step forward and a return to the fundamentals of the franchise. The heart of Mafia has always been deep, immersive storytelling, and Mafia: The Old Country is no exception. It's a premium experience in the vein of early Mafia games, with a linear narrative set against the stunning, authentic backdrop of 1900 Sicily. That focus has allowed us to deliver a classic organised crime drama in the period of authentic Mafia rules
I've not been
and traditions
there,
of the era. And as you just saw, we've made some
Sicily.
exciting gameplay updates.
It's beautiful.
Whether you're using a knife or a gun, using stealth or in a shootout, this is brutal and grounded in all the best ways. It's all going to pull you in from every angle, pushing the franchise forward in a location and time painstakingly created with the utmost authenticity and detail using
this
Unreal
year
Engine 5.
it's gonna be
Stick around because next up is our
crazy
development team.
game.
We have loads of awesome behind the
We
scenes
have
insights
Death
on how we bring this title
Stranding,
to life.
we
And
have
stay tuned between now and
Mafia.
August as we'll have even more to tell and show. Thanks for joining us on this
Oh
journey.
really? There's gonna be gameplay in August, I think. This is a short gameplay.
Come in.
Look at this. Playing a classic
Our top
mob
goal
movie.
for every Mafia game is to deliver the promise to a player that you're going to play a classic mob movie. Mafia: The Old Country is a linear crime drama set against a beautiful Sicilian backdrop. The first step for us was to make sure that we were nailing all
When you
of
go
the
to
things
Sicily,
that players expect from a Mafia game. The quality of the
obviously,
storytelling, how immersive it
it's
is,
so
how authentic
beautiful.
it is, Previous Mafia games
It's
have been set
full
in
of-
big American
it's
cities.
it's
We've
like the-
taken the action
it's
and we've put our story
like
in
the
rural
country
Sicily, in the place where the
of
Mafia began.
Italy.
You really feel like you're transported into another time. It feels really
That's how
unique and
Sicily
different,
look like.
but yet really
It's
familiar.
like
Players
you
are
are
really
going
gonna
to the
enjoy that
country
aspect.
of Italy.
Our entry point for making these
But
crime
right now,
dramas
it's a
is
bit
always
different.
the protagonist. We
I know
wanted to make
people
sure
think
that our
about it. It's
main
really
character,
beautiful when
Enzo
you go there.
Favara, lives up to the standard which
But
we've
it's
set in the
amazing.
past, and I hope in some ways even exceeds that.
All of the men in this room are bound by blood.
Enzo grows up in a sulfur mine. He's one of a bunch of children that are sold to the mine owners at this point in history in Sicily. Their life expectancy is short and they're essentially seen as disposable.
Enzo turns to crime as a means to make something of himself. The odds are stacked against him. So
It's a
what does he
beautiful
do?
game.
He sees an opportunity for
Unreal
himself
Engine
to
is
gain
gonna
some status, to
be
gain
a
some respect.
menace
Do you wish
in the
to commit
future
to
because
this family?
Unreal Engine is
Swearing the oath
becoming
is the chance for him to finally be
much
accepted.
more
He's found a family. It's the thing he's been searching for his
reason
entire
than
life.
anything
but it
but
comes at a cost.
that
I think players are in
GTA
for
Rage
an emotional
Engine.
roller coaster.
It's
The high
probably
stakes
gonna be
of the Mafia life
what
present
a mind
opportunities
beats
for the
it in
storytellers
terms of
to take
graphics,
players and put players through the
fidelity,
ringer, really, in terms
and
of what happens
everything.
to the character, what happens to them in the game.
So if a studio want to make a game, I don't think
What
you can
makes a
have
really compelling
Rockstar for
gameplay
their
experience is the
engine
mix of
if you
high
cannot
intensity
pay big
combat,
bucks for
cover
it.
play, cover shooting,
know?
set by these beautiful cinematics that make what you do in the combat so much more meaningful because you're fighting for something you really believe in.
Authenticity and immersion are key. And so we wanted to take that philosophy from the storytelling and make sure that it was consistent in the gameplay.
You know, whether you come for that core cover combat shooting experience or that white knuckle driving experience, we have that in Mafia: The Old Country, but it's unique.
Just
There's some
imagine
downbeats,
this
there's
was
some
in
deep
Rage
storytelling moments,
Engine.
and then there's
That
some
would
like
be
high intensity
crazy.
action. And I think that's what makes Mafia missions and the general experience so interesting, is that we're constantly trying to change that roller coaster experience that you're on.
Enzo's proving himself with guns, and we wanted the combat to feel like there was a scarcity of resources, so you have to be more tactical in the way that you approach combat. The knife has been an integral part of gameplay. It's a part of Sicilian culture.
We wanted our gameplay to be immersive, to have a life or death kind of vibe. So when players are in a knife duel, when they're in a gunfight, they're genuinely fearing for their lives.
My flesh must burn like this saint if I do not keep my
Oh
oath.
Jesus!
Bringing 1900 Sicily to life for us, it infuses every aspect of the development. It's about the characters, it's about the music, it's about the story, it's about the setting, it's about the vistas, it's about the vehicles, it's everything.
Cannot wait to
It always
play it,
starts
bro.
with research, it always starts with immersing ourselves
You can see
in
the
subject
developers
matter. So whether
really
that's reading every crime
and,
book
like,
around the
show
Sicilian Mafia, watching all
love
of
to
the
it.
movies, even driving the cars, firing the weapons, and then translating that into the game, that's
Just
the
hope
development
it's a
experience.
bit of like
We even
an
sent some
open
folks
world
out to Sicily.
ish.
We were then able to take all of those experiences and try to translate it into an on-screen experience, but also a story. And those two things are woven together in a way that I think players are going to really enjoy.
That's good. I don't
Bravery
want
is
to
not
Italy.
common in this world, Enzo.
The Mafia that we see in Mafia: The Old Country is much different than the Mafia that we see in some of the other Mafia games. It's a time-honored tradition steeped in secrecy, and there's this sort of deep honor that we see within the Torrisi family and within the characters there.
The characters' relationships with each other, the way they behave, is very much influenced by that setting and that cultural difference.
This is a distinctive experience that I've never played before, and I'm sure that players are going to feel the same.
Presentation as
Mafia: The Old Country is our
innovation.
first Unreal 5 game in the studio, and it's particularly suited to the Sicilian setting.
We've really been able to push the boat out in terms of sort of the real tiny details on everything.
You know, one of the big ones for me is Metahuman. You have characters that have really lifelike expressions, micro details. You know, many times when I'm watching the game, especially on a big screen in 4K, I start to forget that they're characters rendered in an engine. They just look like real characters in a movie. I think that's the level of immersion that we want, and it allows people, I think, to really suspend their disbelief and go along for the ride.
Enzo is beautifully rendered in the game, and I think he's one of the most compelling game characters we've seen for a long time.
The thing I'm most excited about for
That's
Mafia: The
true.
Old Country is finally getting the game in players' hands.
The story pulls you through really quickly, and at the end, it takes your breath away, and it's one that you're not going to want to spoil for your friends.
The visuals and the storytelling are absolutely next level.
Our setting's completely distinctive. Our story
You know,
is
I
completely
would
unique.
really
This is a game that
pay
you haven't
an
played before.
expensive
The best
price if
crime
they
stories
could
have
make
unforgettable twists,
a
and this
Godfather
game's no
game.
exception. Players in for a
A
treat.
remastered of a Godfather play. That would be really amazing on, re-engine. Alright guys, that'll be it for today's episode. Hope you guys love it. For this, like I said, I'll be really, really happy if they could just, make like like a Godfather game that like someone can really play and love. I really want to play Godfather game because I think the Godfather game I played last was beautiful. I wish they should bring something else to it that would make like an amazing, beautiful game. Without further ado, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe out there and be good to yourself and keep yourself safe. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.